Good evening. I'm Jeff Martinez, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for taking the time to allow us to speak. So you're probably wondering, how did I end up getting involved in this? Well, working closely with a lot of the council here, Councilman Clark's office with Anita Banuelos, she called and told me that they were going to rename the park. I said, my family grew up there. That's where our family roots are from. We call that Goat Hill. We had a family restaurant that was there. She said, really? Tell me more. So we went on and we talked a little bit about the family. So I told her about that area. That was an area that was very poor. There were people there that didn't have water. Most people didn't have water at the time that most of my family moved in there. Evans Avenue, which we know now is a very busy street, was nothing more than a dirt road with two big ditches on both sides. And the family restaurant that was put there right in Goat Hill. So that's kind of how I got involved in this, and tell you a little bit about this. So in the 1960s, again, my family lived there. Well, they're actually there in the 40s and the 50s. But in the 60s, there was a building that was there, and my uncle and aunt owned the building. It was several different things. It was first called Evans Heights Grocery. It was a small grocery store that served the people that were there. Everybody would go there. There was a lot of business. Well, when Brentwood Shopping Center opened, a place called Save a Nickel came along, a little bit bigger company, a little bit bigger grocery store. So people started going to Save a Nickel, put the family business out of business. So they tried a furniture business for a while there. That did okay, but not too well. And then the family, because there were six, that's my family up there. That's my grandma and grandpa, Domingo and Domitilia Abeyta. And there are 6 daughters and 3 sons. My mother was one of the daughters, Betty Abeyta, and they all would get together and they would make a lot of Mexican-American, Spanish food, more or less New Mexico-style food. And they were great cooks, so they thought, why don't we try this as a restaurant? So a couple of the family members first opened this up, and they called it La Lomita. La Lomita means the little hill. So the Goat Hill sat up on a little bit of a hill, so it was called the La Lomita. So they tried the restaurant. It changed hands a few times as the years went on, my parents being one of them, aunts and uncles, other aunts and uncles also owning that and operating that. So it was a great place for people to gather. There was a jukebox where the music was always playing. People came in. They were homemade tortillas made by hand. There were lines sometimes out the door with people waiting to get in to listen to the music, eat the good food that was there. Just a great place for the family, or all the families that lived in that general area. This is an actual picture of that building called the La Lomita. There's a house that's right next door to there. That building still stands. It's a house that my aunt and uncle that owned this property lived in. But this is an actual picture of it when it was the cafe, the La Lomita restaurant. These are some more pictures. These pictures are all pictures that were taken in that area during the 40s through 60s. The one with the glass windows on the front with the family sitting around, that building still exists. That's right next to where the La Lomita restaurant was. So a lot of love, a lot of family, a lot of things that happen there. Our families have grown, and most of my aunts and uncles have passed away. We have one actual family descendant, my Aunt Maggie, that is still alive. She's the last of the Abeyta family. And then we have we call her my Aunt Arlene. She is truly my cousin, but she is my aunt. She's grown up as my aunt. She's going to speak later. But our family has passed away, our mothers and fathers, except my father is still here with us, 87-year-old native of Denver. So we are doing our best to preserve a small part of our family, a family that was always gentle. They were kind. They have a lot of integrity, but they were a family that not a lot of people know about, but they are what Denver was founded on, and we believe that it is time that we have some mark of our family. We didn't think it would be right to just name it Abeyta Park, because that put a little bit too much of a name of our family, but the building that the Abeyta family owned and operated, La Lomita, we think is very important, and we would love if you would honor us with naming the park at Asbury and Tejon, La Lomita Park. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Arlene McIntosh, and I'm a Denver native. I'm married to Willie McIntosh. I am the granddaughter of Domingo and Domitilia Abeyta. I was raised by my grandparents. I called them Mama and Daddy. I was one of the family. I am retired. I owned a business, Arlene's Trophies, for 27 years, and my daughter Sonia still has the shop. I am the president of the Denver 600-500 Bowling Club, and I'm the only Hispanic female in the Denver Bowling Hall of Fame. We moved to the Hill in 1944. My Aunt Minnie and Uncle Joe Romero had purchased 20 acres from Evans to Asbury and Tijon to Vallejo. They brought an old Army barrack and moved it onto the property on Asbury, right where the park is. We did not have a floor, water, or electricity. We had an outhouse and a Montgomery Ward Cadillac that we used for TP. Daddy put in the floor. There were 7 of us lived in 3 rooms: Daddy, Mama, Uncle Porky, my mom Eva, Margie Betty, and myself. My Aunt Minnie and Joe owned the grocery store. It was called Evans Heights Grocery Store in 1942 to 1955. And around 1955, my Aunt Lily and Walter Lopez, Sarah and Carlos Lopez, and Anna and Willie Hernandez were the first owners of the La Lomita Cafe. Then later, my Uncle Felix and Clarinda Abeyta, my Aunt Betty and Chuck Martinez, and Betty and Becky Candelara, they were cousins, were also owners. I worked as a cashier and a waitress. We would be very honored to have the park called La Lomita.
My name is Gail Martinez. I reside in Lakewood now, but grew up there at the La Lomita. My parents were one of the owners at one time. We were little kids, and we actually lived in the basement of the La Lomita. So it was quite an experience living there and growing up in my family. And I've sat on a lot of different councils in Denver, public school councils, and different Westwood Neighborhood Association president. And I admire you all for what you're doing. I know it's a lot of work and a lot of time. But as far as the park goes, one point I wanted to make was that I think that the name the La Lomita not only depicts the people that grew up around there, the restaurant that so many people came around and enjoyed for so long, but the fact that the name La Lomita also is a good name for the community that is living in the area at this time, because it is a very large Hispanic Mexican community right now. And I think the name fits it perfectly. So that's basically all I wanted to say. And again, thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you all so much for being here. But more than that, thank you all for everything that you have done as individuals, as a family, for this city and for this community. This is a celebration about you, for you, from us, and my heart is happy to be a small part of that. Before I really dig in, I have to thank Anita Benuelos from my office.
All right, Anita. Yay.
She worked so hard to help with the signature process and help us navigate the Parks process. Thank you to Parks for having a process where a community can say, I said this when we did this at the city council meeting, this park already had a formal process for us to be able to officially have a show up on Google Maps and have a sign in the park. But this park has always been your park. This has always been La Lomita Park. We just had a process that Anita really helped us navigate to get us to making it official. But this is such an exciting day to be out here and have some fancy shovels and a pile of dirt. I thought we were just going to start digging holes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're like, wait, there's some irrigation down there, there's some power lines, So we're gonna take some pictures. But this is really about all of you, and I think that for me, from the very beginning of my work in parks, which started for me when I was 16 years old, and I started taking kids to the parks in Denver along the South Platte River. I was born and raised here. Parks were my backyard. But when I started, really going door to door for this job 4 years ago, the thing I heard repeatedly over here in this community is, why do we always feel forgotten? Why do we always feel left behind? And part of that is that we have this beautiful park that means so much to so many people. This is where I played. This is where the house was. All these amazing stories, and yet the city had never recognized it by even putting that name on there. And that feeling of being left behind and forgotten. Well, left behind and forgotten no more. This is La Lomita Park.
Yay! All right, that's it. Yay!
Jeff, can you
All
be
right.
in the middle of them though? Because seriously, you were the
See if there's any worms in there, Jeff. See if there's any worms in the dirt, bro.
in the middle, please, so we can have a picture and every.
What's wrong with you running on?
Now see, I can't show these kids.
Hey, is this a prank call or what? It's a prank call. Hey, come here, something, yeah? It's a crank.
There's Fred calmly taking it all in stride. Okay, I'm gonna video record a commercial. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right.
I'm going to say hi.
Oh.
I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm videotaping. She's a troublemaker, though. Well-known troublemaker. And there's a couple more troublemakers.
I'm going to get left. I'm going to be knocked out.
Okay. Oh, it's a video. So, Dad, you're supposed to be dancing.
Nobody snapped yet. Uncle Tony and Jessica's birthday is today, and Jerry, happy birthday. And we're thankful to everybody for coming out to celebrate
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear everyone. Happy birthday to you. Ta-da! Cut the cake. Yep, they're gonna think we're crazy.
Is there a good place to park around there, like over by your spot then, or?
I'll get a couple and then I'll go in close.
Address, yeah.
Okay, you ready? Here it goes. I'm gonna start. Oh shoot! Wait a second. Happy birthday, home milk. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ronnie. Happy birthday to you.
Since when is he short on words?
So shy. Now he's speechless.
I have a saying, and I don't want to get sad and like this. First of all, I have a saying in my life that my family are my friends and my friends are my family. And that's what I have here today. And one person I want to bring in this is Lonnie. Because she should be here with us, you guys, and you're special to me for so long. Thank you so very much.
We love you, Rocky!
Yeah, we
I went around pretty fast there.
Hasta las mañanas y que vengo a saludarte. Come on, sing, Sonia. Venimos todos con gusto a aplazar a felicidarte. This isn't it, Mom. Día en que tú naciste, nacieron todas las flores. Una palabra de bautismo, todos los reyes señores. con de ti.
Honey, mix it up.
Levantarte de mañana, mira que quisiera ser un San Pedro para venirte a saludar con la música del cielo, de las estrellas del cielo, tengo que darte voz, para saludarte y otra para decirte adiós. Con claveles y islemes te venimos a cantar. Para hacer tu día de santo y para felicidad. Yeah, that's better. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ronnie. Happy birthday to you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mr. and Mrs. Martinez.
Gotta get our buddy in there. He's bugging you. Buddy, leave your daddy alone.
Thank you all for being here. This is great family reunion, and just on a side note, my two brothers passed away in the past few months. Anyway, these are them, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Love you, Alan. We love you, Travis. We love you, Travis.
Let's say our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. O grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.